Pray, let me introduce myself. My name is Cecily Cardo.
Cecily Cardo, what a very sweet name. I can tell we're going to be great friends, and I like you more than I can already say. You know, my first impressions about people are never wrong.
How nice of you to like me so much after we've known each other such a comparatively short amount of time.
Please, sit down. I suppose this is a favourable time to mention who I am. You see, my father is Lord Bracknell. You've heard of Papa, I suppose?
I don't think I have.
Well, outside of the family circle, I'm glad to say that Father is almost entirely unknown, and I think that is quite as it should be. You see, I believe that the home is the perfect sphere for a man, and certainly once he starts to neglect his domestic duties, he becomes painfully effeminate, and I don't like that very much. You see, it makes a man so very attractive. My mother in her education was so very, very strict, and she taught me to be extremely short-sighted. Cecily, do you mind if I look at you through my glasses?
Not at all, Gwendolyn. I'm very fond of being looked at.
And you're here on a short visit, I suppose?
Oh, no, I live here.
Really? With your mother or some female relative with advanced years resides with you?
No, I have no mother. Nor, in fact, any other relations for that matter.
Indeed.
No, my guardian, along with the assistance of Miss Prism, has the arduous task of raising me.
Your guardian?
I am Mr. Worthing's ward.
Oh. It is strange he never mentioned that he had a ward to me. How very secretive of him. You know, he grows more interesting hourly. Ernest has a strong, upright nature. He is the very soul of truth and honor. Disloyalty would be as impossible to him as deception. But even men of the noblest possible moral character are extremely susceptible to the influence of physical charms of others.
Beg your pardon, Gwendolyn, did you say Earnest?
Yes.
It is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is my ward. It is his eldest brother.
Ernest never mentioned that he had a brother.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to say they've been on bad terms for quite a long time.
Well, that accounts for it then. And now that I think of it, no man has ever spoken to me about his brother. I guess it's a subject that's very distasteful for men. Oh, Cecily, you have taken a great load off my mind. And I'm afraid to say that I was beginning to grow quite anxious. And how terrible would it have been if a cloud had passed across a friendship like ours. But you are quite sure that it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing that is your guardian?
I'm quite sure. In fact, I'm going to be his.
I beg your pardon?
Dearest Gwendolyn, there's no reason I should make it a secret to you. Our country newspaper is bound to chronicle it in the next week or so. Mr. Ernest Worthing and I are engaged to be married.
Darling Cecily, I think that there must be some slight error. Mr. Ernest Worthing is engaged to me. The announcement will appear in the Morning Post on Saturday at the latest.
I'm afraid you must be under some misconception. Ernest proposed to me exactly 10 minutes ago.
This is quite curious, isn't it? Because you see, yesterday, he asked me to be his wife at 5:30. If you wish to validate the incident, then pray do so. But you see, I never go anywhere without my diary. It's very important you have something sensational to read on the train. You know, I'm very sorry to disappoint you, Cecily, but I'm afraid I do have the prior claim.
It would distress me more than you could tell, dear Gwendolyn, that if it would cause you any mental or physical pain. But I feel bound to tell you that since Ernest proposed to you, it is clear he has changed his mind.
If the poor fellow has been entrapped into any foolish promise, I shall consider it my duty to rescue him at once, and with a firm hand.
Whatever unfortunate entanglement my dear boy may have gotten into, I will never reproach him with it after we are married.
You allude to me, Miss Cardew, as an entanglement? You are presumptuous. On an occasion of this kind, it becomes more than a moral duty to speak one's mind. It becomes a pleasure.
Do you suggest, Miss Fairfax, that I entrapped Ernest into an engagement? How dare you? This is not the time for modest manners. When I see a spade, I call it a spade.
I am glad to say that I have never seen a spade. It is quite obvious that our social spheres have been widely different.
Shall I lay tea here as usual, Miss Cecily?
Are there any fair walks in the vicinity, Miss Cardew?
Oh yes, there's a great many, Miss Fairfax. Just beyond that hill over there, one can see 5 counties.
5 counties? Well, I shouldn't like that. You see, I hate crowds.
Is that why you live in town?
Quite a well-kept garden you have, Miss Cardew.
So glad you like it, Miss Fairfax.
I had no idea any flowers even existed in the country.
Oh, they're quite common here. Just how people are in London.
You know, personally, I don't see how anybody who is anybody can live in the country.
Would you like some tea, Miss Fairfax?
Why, yes, thank you. Detestable girl. But I do require some tea.
Sugar.
Oh, no thank you. Sugar is not fashionable anymore.
Cake or bread and butter?
Bread and butter, please. Cake is rarely seen at good houses nowadays. You have filled my tea with scoops of sugar, and though I asked most distinctly for bread and butter, you have given me cake. I am known for the gentleness of my disposition and the extraordinary sweetness of my nature, but I warn you, Miss Cardew, you may go too far.
There are no lengths to which I would not go.
From the moment I saw you, I distrusted you. I felt you were false and deceitful, and I am never deceived in such matters. My first impressions of people are inevitably right.
Seems to me, Miss Fairfax, that I am trespassing on your valuable time. No doubt you have many other calls of a similar character to make in the neighborhood.
Oh, Gwendolyn.
Oh, would you look who's coming this way? Ernest! My dear Ernest, just you wait, dear Cecily.
Oh, Miss Fairfax, I knew there must be some sort of misunderstanding. That fellow coming our way is Mr. John Worthing, my guardian.
I beg your pardon?
That is Uncle Jack.
Jack?